Welcome to Rhythm of Love, the podcast. I'm Clarence.
And I'm Yolanda. We celebrated our 25th wedding anniversary by writing a book together about what it took to get us here.
And in this podcast, we go deeper and break down what we learned along the way. We hope you enjoy and engage.
Comment, share, and subscribe. We'd love to hear what you have to say about what it takes to make relationships last.
Yes, we will.
Welcome to episode 12 of Rhythm of Love, the podcast. I'm Yolanda Lewis, and this fine brother over here is Clarence Lewis.
Ty brother is a better description.
Well, Ty brother. Yes, he was DJ C Sharp today out in the 98 plus degree weather. I think it got up to 103.
I don't know what it got up to.
Heat index today. I checked. So I hope you stay hydrated. I told you to hydrate.
I drank 3 bottles. By the time the day was over, I drank 2.5 bottles of water.
What size bottles?
Not the big, just
little 16 ounces.
Little 16 ounces. I drank 3 of those. Mm-hmm. Two and a half of those.
That is more than you typically drink in a day.
And 2 ginger ale and 1 ginger ale.
Okay. All right.
So I didn't eat that much though, but I was how I am when I work.
Yes. It was the hydration was more important than the eating, because you do need to replace all of that you're sweating out.
Well, it's all
Someone
in the
should have gave you a Gatorade or something.
It's all in this shirt that
you have on right now, because you haven't even had a chance to change out of your sweaty clothes. So maybe you absorb some back in through your skin.
Maybe.
We're sitting here. Y'all, our air conditioner is fighting for its life. It's fighting for its life. It has not reached the temperature that we've set the thermostat at today.
No, it did
because we have so much heat coming from our attic. Right. Our house sits on a little bit of a hill. There's no shade, no trees whatsoever. We get full sun on our roof all day long.
If we can convince Miss Durham to let us drill holes in the roof, we could probably save on electricity.
We can save on electricity with solar panels. We get so much sun. And she's like, I don't want nobody to put holes in my roof. I'm not sure the image that she has in her mind, because what happens then? We take the panels off, and
I don't know.
Now we got a pocked roof. But anyway,
I don't know.
To each their own. The point is, our air conditioner is fighting for its life. Shout out to Turl. I don't know his last name. What's his last name?
Gaines.
Turl Gaines, who is our HVAC guy, who comes every year faithfully and refreshes our HVAC systems. Yeah. Because we need every bit of that.
Yes, indeed.
It's fighting for its life. It has not reached. It's nighttime. It's 11:30 at night. The sun has been down.
It's still
for
11:44.
Even later, 11:44. The sun has been down since a good 8:44. So what's that? 3 hours?
Correct.
And it's just barely creeping down.
It's creeping down, though.
Trying to get cool in here.
Yes. So it's actually pretty funny that you say that, because you hadn't planned to say that.
No,
I didn't know you had planned to say that.
But it's been on my mind all day.
I'm sure it has.
We went from hydration to keeping the house cool.
But
it was a train of thought.
What you're talking about is the air conditioner fighting for its life.
Yes.
And what I thought about, we were sitting here trying to discuss what we were going to discuss.
Yeah, because we had no plan for tonight, y'all.
And I heard something that I thought was useful and apropos that we could potentially discuss, which is, the times where we actually didn't think we were going to make it.
Yes.
And I'm not saying that to say we are in those places now. What I'm saying is that people go through these phases.
Yes, if you're married for almost any amount of time,
days, weeks, months.
The next week you could be like, was this what I was supposed to do with my life?
Exactly.
Is this the right person I'm supposed to be with? Yes. So you're going to ask yourself these questions throughout your marriage.
So, we didn't do any of this. The Rhythm of Love, the podcast, is based off of a book called The Rhythm of Love that we wrote.
Authored in celebration of our 25th anniversary.
We're now we'll be coming up on 28 next week.
Yes, Barry, this coming Friday?
Yes, the 12th.
Yes, will be our 28th anniversary.
28th anniversary.
But the full title of the book is The Rhythm of Love, 25 Things the 25 Years of Marriage Taught Us.
Yes. So one of the chapters is called Neither One of Us, and that is what you described was like the perfect segue into that, because what I heard someone say this week, they asked this woman on another podcast or on another show or whatever, how her and her husband, I think they had been married 40 years.
Okay.
And he asked her, how did you survive 40 years and, still be married?
Is that the way they asked it?
I don't
okay, the point is, how do you get the 40 years
right.
then? Okay.
And the guys, and the woman's response, I thought was so succinct and so appropriate, which was, neither one of us wanted to get a divorce at the same time.
Oh my God. That's it.
That is
the thing.
That is perfect.
That is the thing. We have been trying to figure out, because people ask us all the time, what is the thing that kept you together? We ask ourselves, what is the thing that kept us together? And, depending on the day, right. You'll say communication. I'll say it's because we like each other and we're friends, right. And we can mend fences as friends. Other things have been said, but that might be the answer right there.
We
just didn't want a divorce at the same time.
It's such a perfect description of long-term relationships, because, there have been a couple of times, more than a couple. There've been a couple of times that it was severe, that I thought, this is actually not going to make it. Of course, you have your fights, and you ask yourself questions like, why am I here? And or is this worth it?
Right.
Those kinds of questions. You get that
a little more frequently,
but never serious contemplation. Like, okay, this is how this has to play out. And that comes up, for us. I can't tell you when it was for you, but I can tell you that it's happened for me, maybe 2, maybe 3 times in the 28 years.
It's probably the same times. I mean, in terms of, I asked myself, is this it for him when I could detect that you were like your most upset? For instance, the times when you would just get up in the middle of the night and leave. And that's one time.
So
I feel like multiple times.
Getting up in the middle of the night and leave, I usually just go to the couch.
Right.
I usually don't leave. I don't leave the house.
There's a time when you left the house.
It's only one time that I left the house.
Okay, one time.
It's only one time when I left the house.
Yes.
And in retro, I know exactly what the argument was about, and in hindsight, it didn't need to be as big as it was.
I say that pretty much about all our arguments. That really, if I go and tell somebody what we were just arguing about, and we could be heated, we could be silent treatment and everything, and telling them, I'm just like, I guess we just fight about stupid stuff.
It feels stupid, but it feels very serious at the time.
At the time, it's serious than a mug. Like, trust me, believe me.
So in this particular situation, with the one you're talking about, we were out, the 4 of us, me, you, Nathan, and Simone. And
those are our kids, for people who have not
those
been
are
watching
kids.
Or haven't read.
And Simone is horribly afraid of dogs. So we have to be.
This the park where we were at the
at the Rio,
Oh, Rio. Okay.
So we were at Rio, and we were,
Yeah.
I'm not going. I don't mean to offend, but I probably will. Any of the more Caucasian parts of town that we hang out in seem to have lots of dogs
everywhere. And she's irrationally, deathly afraid. No matter the size, no matter what the dog is doing, it doesn't have to be barking. It doesn't have to be trying to play with her. It just has to be moving
in her direction.
Yes,
or she has to be moving
whatever distance that she can see. The farthest distance that she can see.
If it's far enough away, she can deal with it. But if it's close to her, most of the time she has a very negative reaction to it.
She gonna flip out.
So, of course, I can't give you exact verbiage of things that were said.
Right. But I think we just disagreed on the approach we should take in this particular instance.
And at that moment, I felt like y'all were not helping me. And that felt like a pattern.
Right. And I remember that because one of the things that you were saying was that, I'm the one who has to physically restrain her out of all of us.
Right.
And so if I say go left, everybody just needs to go left.
Correct.
Don't question it. We don't have time for questioning.
And we don't
have time for
things go south very
super quickly.
So
yes.
So at that moment, at that time, it was something along those lines. And when things went left, because I think they did go a little bit left, not totally, but they went, she had a run-in with the dogs.
I think the problem was it was a dog here and it was a dog here.
Right.
And that's happened on more than one occasion where, each of us, I think, as we are walking with her, we're thinking, and Nathan too, we're all thinking, if a dog shows up, what's the best approach for where we are right now? What should we do? Each of us is thinking that in our own minds, as soon as a dog comes up, this is where I think Moni should go, or this is what I think we should do. And for that particular time, we had very differing ideas of what to do with her.
I said your statement, which was, I need y'all to be with me.
Right.
And I don't recall what your statement is at this moment.
Really?
I don't. Do you?
No.
Okay. Well, whatever it was
was not.
I was like,
what? How dare you?
I was personally
offended
by that. I can't tell you what the phrase was because I just don't. I don't remember
either.
I probably blocked it out. I probably blocked it out.
You had to block it out, and that's unlike you because you typically don't block
remember
out anything.
I typically remember, but I blocked it out.
This particular one, because if you thought
and
about
I got
it again,
in the car,
you might want to divorce me.
I got in the car, and the whole ride home, I am saying to myself, I'm not. Live it would be. But live it would be a different feeling. I'm sure I am. But this was different than that. I wasn't just upset. I was upset and I was planning. Which was different. Usually you just upset. But I was upset and I was planning. I said, I'm going to go home. I'm going to pack a bag for Simone. I'm going to pack a bag for myself, and we are going to go spend the night in the hotel and start working our way into what is going to be next for us.
Listen, people. Okay. I've never done that. I've never planned.
So
a next life.
Right. So I got home. And I didn't pack a bag for her. And I didn't pack a bag for myself, but I did just put her in the car and we just left.
Yeah.
And when we left, I couldn't put my finger on exactly where I was going to go.
I mean, when you got Moni with you.
It wasn't, I couldn't put my finger on it. I was willing to take her wherever I was going to go.
But you didn't pack a bag, so it wasn't going to be to a hotel.
Right. So my next plan was to go to my parents' house.
Okay.
Which you've heard me say this before. It was to go to my parents' house. And I was afraid that if I went to my parents' house, I actually wouldn't come back home. Because they would give me the accommodations that I needed to spend the night.
Oh, to spend the night. Okay. All right. You wouldn't come back home that night.
Right. And if I don't come home that night, to me, it's the first stone in never coming home again.
Right. Right. Okay.
So I decided not to go there. And I ended up at a friend's house. And we stayed there until about, until Simone fell asleep. And I think we came home about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. He let me stay there. He talked to me. And, what he said was, if you do this, because he wasn't necessarily trying to talk me out of it as much as he was trying to talk me through it.
Okay.
Shout out to DJ Metasmith. As much as he was trying to talk me through it.
Okay.
And he said, if you do this, what's going to change? How will your life actually be different? And the only answer I had was, I don't have to consider them anymore. I can make decisions without having to consider them to a degree.
Them?
To a degree.
Them? Okay.
You and Nathan.
This is breaking up the family.
To a degree.
I mean, of course, yes, to a degree. But your everyday, daily decisions, walking down the street, won't have to consider us.
Right.
Obviously, we'll be tied together for life, so.
Right. And he said, will that make it better? And I couldn't answer that it would make it better. I didn't know if it would make it better. I just knew I was, at that time, at that moment, I was tired of feeling like I was managing that part of her life. And it's not just the dog stuff. She has had some pretty severe physical engagements that have happened.
Right. And being the stronger of the two of us,
I typically am the one
you have to want to intervene physically with her.
So,
yes.
And
when we're all together.
Right. And with
sometimes
it happens.
You're not there.
Right.
Yes.
But even when it happens and I'm not there, I get a call to come to where it is a lot of times.
That has happened too. Yes.
And I need you here. Yeah. And, so I drop what I'm doing. And as any dad who should do, you go and you help and you intervene as much as you can. But, I was just tired. I was tired. And you called me on my cell phone. I sent that joint straight to voicemail 2 or 3 times. My mom called. I sent her the voicemail 2 or 3 times. Because I know that they calling me to try to figure out what's going on. And I don't want to talk about it. So I don't. But that was the biggest... That was the first time, not the first time. That was the first time I had actually taken even a minor action.
Right. Towards possibly
towards severing this relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So, I came home. I did come home. I'm still home. I came home.
You did come home.
And we made some changes.
Yes, we did. Things kind of changed. We talked it through. I think we each had our view of our perspective on what it's like to have to handle those crisis moments when she is having a meltdown or whatever. And they were from our own individual perspectives, sure. And we needed to take the time to discuss it so that we can see that the other person as a reminder that we're still on the same team.
Right. Because I mean, I can agree with you that the feeling I felt was alone.
Yeah. And I think that was a mutual feeling in terms of, whatever happens with me when I didn't feel alone per se. I think I just felt like how much I do have to handle her on my own was not considered. Like, you just couldn't possibly be there for every situation. And so I have had to develop some ways of responding to it when you're not there. And I think I wanted to apply that when you were there without us having discussed, oh yeah, here's what I think. Here's how I think she can be handled. This is how I have had success. And, vice versa.
And I can see that. But I can also say, I mean, that I have alone time with her as well.
Right. No, right. And that's just my point. I mean, I was only drawing the contrast between I didn't feel alone in the same way that you felt alone at that moment. But I knew what it was like to feel alone and having to respond to her. So yeah, I think, just overall in general, we have had, if there are any points in time where we have felt like this is not going to last, probably 75% of those times have revolved around care for the children in some way. How the children will be led, how the children will be disciplined,
sure, how
the children, will be responded to in XYZ situation. So yeah, it's no surprise at all that that strong feeling you had of like, okay, I can't do this anymore. I'm alone anyway. I might as well be alone. Would have come out of a situation with Simone.
Right. And this, so we say all this. There's a chapter in our book that is aptly titled "Neither One of Us," and it's
what's to be the first to say.
Right, and it talks about. It doesn't talk specifically about this situation, but it just talks about the processing and going through understanding that. But I thought that woman's statement on that show was even more succinct of a more succinct description of what
has kept us together through those periods, is that neither one of us was feeling the strong I gotta go
at the same time.
Yes.
So what about you? Did you have any situations where you said this is over?
Yes. And typically it was more in response to how strongly you were feeling about something. For instance, in that situation you just described, I'm like, well, if he ready to go, he can go. And we'll figure it out. It was never I'm leaving. The question might have been there, should I leave? Should I consider leaving? Are we going to ever get past this? And if we don't get past this, what does that mean? Should we just go our separate ways since we can't get past this? When it was not the kids, it would be, I'm going to speak in generalities because, it was probably around some time where I was late and you were just not handling me being late with a positive, with a smile, or with very much less than a smile.
So, I mean, I'm going to respond, not specifically to that, but I mean, there's another chapter in our book where we talk about acceptance of people's personalities and potentially even their flaws, and whether or not you can get past those things. There's another whole chapter
when
that
you
we talk
really
about.
want them to change.
And
y'all
then-
have discussed changes,
And they never change.
and they don't change,
And-
or they don't change to the extent to which
You think they
really
need to change, or
them
you want them to change.
You want them to change.
So
yes.
it is.
So the time thing, yeah.
It is interesting, to hear you describe it that way is interesting, because it's just, it is very, and I'm sure I have some of those things as well. I'm not removing myself from the equation, but I just wonder what you're thinking. I mean, I just can't describe it any way other than that. Just
When I'm late, when
what
I'm
are you
running late.
thinking about? And yeah, I mean,
I think you actually did a good job in that chapter of recognizing that, yes, I am stressed when I am running late. And I have told you that it requires me to have a plan backtracked to at least the night before, if not the full day before. I have to be somewhere at a certain time. That, and the plan has to go exactly, for, if anything interferes or interjects in that plan, even if it's me, then the likelihood that I'm going to be on time is goes down exponentially with each each obstacle.
we could talk about this in more detail another time if you want. Because we have a friend who says time is a variable construct that is just.
It's made up. It's made up. Right. Yeah. We don't have to try to use her words. I don't think either one of us are acquainted well enough with her philosophy to repeat it. But I do think I think a lot of stuff is going on with that. I think there's some ADHD going on with that. There's time blindness is a very common, I don't want to say symptom because that gives too negative a connotation, but is a very common characteristic of people with ADHD, in that you get fully immersed in the moment that you are in, and it can feel like in that time that you do kind of live outside of time. I don't have a clock ticking in my head like you do. I not all the time. There are times when I do, when I realize, it's almost time for me to get off work. I need to figure out how to wrap up this task. And typically, as you can, lately it's just, I'll send you a text. I'm not going to wrap up this task by the end of the day.
You don't have no work clock. You don't have
I do.
You don't have no work clock.
I do.
You working for the man.
I'm not working for the man.
Endlessly.
I'm working for my satisfaction with what I'm doing. I'm also a perfectionist, so that factors into it too, because the perfect does get in the way of the good sometimes. And I do often have to pull myself back. Like, you are not going to make this perfect. It's good the way it is, or, whatever. Because that takes time.
Yeah, this is.
But yeah, that's a whole different discussion. I don't know if I want to have a whole podcast on time, though.
I mean, it's
talking about time.
It don't have to be long, but
you got things to say.
But I certainly have some things to say. But I mean, it's fine. We can discuss time another time. But the point being, as you were
trying to say is that would be an instance, I don't know, where I have lost track of time and you were expecting me to either be someplace, it made us late for something as opposed to just me late by myself, where you would just really be upset about that or, you know, I'm out and I'm just out. You're like, I have no idea when she's coming back. I have no idea where she is.
I mean, and so...
And I'm just like, and so it's the same thing. Oh, it's a similar feeling that you had where it's like, you know, if I was just on my own, I wouldn't have to consider the fact that he, you know, values this more than I do, or in a, you know, in that we have to go by his measure of what's important regarding time. Then I could just be late and be over it and be fine.
To be fine is questionable.
Right,
You would be fine, maybe fine with it.
Right, that's what I mean.
Okay,
I'll
right,
be fine with it, and whatever I have missed, I have just missed. It wasn't meant for me to be there.
Yeah, it sounds just like her.
That's what sounds like our friend.
It sounds just like her.
It wasn't meant for me. I was meant to arrive at the time that I arrived
That's
to experience what I was supposed to experience at that time.
That's anarchy. That's chaos and anarchy to me. It's chaos. One of the very first things that was ever invented in this world was a sundial. Because people needed to know when to start and when to stop and what time it was. It's just anarchy. I mean, you just
it doesn't bother
it's the
me
mark
as much
of
as
a
it
civilized
bothers you.
culture.
It does not bother me as much as it bothers you. There are civilized cultures that, you know, I mean, unless you're farming, unless you're talking about work that can only be done under sunlight, then, you know, once electricity was invented, what do we need to be?
But all of those agrarian
marking time.
All of those agrarian cultures that you're describing, if they went by your philosophy, they just get up when the sun come up and they just stop when the sun go down.
I mean, I don't see the problem with that.
Yeah, they didn't do that. They created a clock. They created a clock.
It was someone like you in the society
that said this is madness.
A group of you
that said this is madness.
Who just wanted to control. It's a level of control. We know that you are a little bit of a control freak.
So, yes, but since we're here, the real words that I would use is order. I wouldn't use control. I would use order.
Sure.
So,
I mean, but there's a lot of bad things done with the cause of order, to bring order, because it's always what, you know, whose order do you go with?
And I say this:
people who are getting up at sun and stopping at sundown.
If you don't choose anything, then you have chaos and anarchy. To me, you have to choose something. I'm not saying that you're not correct in that some people can take these things too far. Absolutely.
Yes.
But you gotta decide on, we agree on, even our friend who is, you know, clock anarchists, is what we can call her from now on, the clock anarchist. Even our friend still is on a schedule of having to do certain things. She doesn't just show up at the airport and say, you know, sure, I'm here.
Yes.
Take me to where I gotta go.
Right. That would be the dream, but right.
That's called a private plane. And even a private plane,
right.
you have to
be on the
say
schedule, because you
what
have
the
to
schedule is.
Talk to the other, there are other planes in the sky,
right,
and y'all can't be crashing into each other.
So
no,
I mean,
get it.
I guess in simplest terms, in order for more than one person to have any type of structure, there has to be an order,
an agreement on,
right?
You know,
if it's just
like
you
time.
living on an island by yourself, growing your own fruits and vegetables, you can get up when you want to get up. You can go to bed when you want to go to bed. You can do anything you want to do, because legitimately,
see, I mean,
time is your own.
You're preaching to the choir, because I have not said that I subscribe. I understand when you need to do what you have to do in the time that it takes to do it. That's just how I grew up. But my mom would do things like get up 3 hours early before she had to leave the house, get us up as well. And we had 3 hours to get dressed, eat breakfast, whatever the morning tasks were. So it did not teach me a sense of rushing. Like, I got to get this done. I got to be dressed in a half hour. I need to shower in 10 minutes. I need to because time is always creeping up on us. No. What she didn't do was make me a morning person like her so that I would be able to get up 3 hours before. But, I have worked it out.
We've worked it out.
We have worked it out. That's true. But we went on a whole long tangent on time because that is
about two things.
Right.
This is the conversation about two things.
And y'all can put your comments in the comments about, because I understand that I have time blindness. I understand that the world needs a clock to live by and to run efficiently. But I just need grace in that area. Just period.
So what I'll say is it took me a long time. I mean, not any short amount of time to follow my own advice, which was, if you can think of the thing that bothers you most about your spouse and you can get over that, then you have a good chance of
having a longevity
relationship.
Yeah.
And I could not get over some of those things for a very long time. I'm over it now. And over it is just more a recognition that you're trying. And,
right. And I think it helped that I tried. If I had just been like, you know what, I don't care, I'll get there when I get there, leave me then, or whatever I would have said. Because the other thing that I grew up in my household, like the only time it really affected all of us at one time was on Sunday morning for church. And my dad would just leave us. Like, once they had 2 cars, he would just leave. Before they had 2 cars, it was fuss. Why y'all not ready? Why y'all not ready? Now, that leads us into other things, like why he wasn't trying to help get ready. He just get himself ready and sit on the couch and wonder why nobody else was ready. Participate, sir. But there were times when we rode with someone else, like he would arrange a ride for us or a ride for himself. Like, I gotta leave y'all because I can't deal with this. And now once again, I don't know where I was going with it.
Wow.
Where did I start? What were we saying?
Wow. What I was saying, how about that, was it took me a long time to get over those things. It took me a long time to come to the conclusion that you did, but you were trying.
Right. And I was saying that if I never tried, if I just was like, this is how it was going to be, of course it would have been much more difficult for us to find some medium ground, because that's where, we talk about sacrifice, but compromise does come in there too. Sure. Where if both people are trying to push toward the middle, then, that can be, it gives you room to recognize that. But, I could have stood my ground and just been like, look, you're going to have to deal with it.
But I mean, and then I would end up doing exactly, the types of things your dad did, which is, right. I'm just going to leave.
I'm just going to leave.
And, and I've made those kinds of statements now. Do you, it used to be, less said. And now I just say those things. Right. Hey, I'm going to leave.
Right.
And, you have a car, where we're going.
Or we'll have a discussion about, I need to leave by this. You would say, I need to be leaving by this time.
Right.
You might even ask me, what do you need me to do to help you to be able to leave at the same time as me, or, for us to go together or whatever. Yeah. So
but I had to,
you had to get that out of your head.
I had to get those. I had to say these options are available to me, and not think, we going someplace together. We have to leave together. We have to arrive together. And one of us is not happy with the time, which then bleeds out into the other person not being happy.
A good time.
Right.
Yes.
It just bleeds out. So how about we do this?
Yeah. And typically,
you've been much
we
better.
haven't had to.
It only took you 25 years.
Oh my gosh!
To get it
under hand. It was a whole 25 years.
Yes.
So it was right before we wrote the book. He's like, oh, well, I could write this chapter because she has made progress. I think it's been.
The book is about me. The chapter is about me. It's not about.
No, but you do talk about how you can see.
It's my recognition of those things.
But the point is, I was doing something.
Yes.
I was not just
it's my recognition
letting the problem stand.
That's even though that's not far enough.
Right.
For me, I'm going to have to learn that to be okay with that.
Yeah.
So yes, it was for me.
Because that happens both ways.
It didn't take it 24 years.
Oh my God.
Maybe not 25 years. 24 years. How about that? Only 24.
And that just shut up. That just underscores that you do have to have grace for your partner. And if it's something that they really struggle with, how can y'all meet somewhere in the middle? How can you accept the level that they are able to perform at? How do you accept that as, okay, that's, I see that, and I can deal with that.
Sure.
You do have to do that because we're gonna talk about some of the other things, like how I have to do my own laundry.
You choose to do your own.
You cut that out.
You choose to do your own.
You don't want to listen to me when I give you a laundry advice. You don't want to listen. You want to do laundry the way you want to do laundry. So I just took my clothes out of the equation.
Right. So there's one basket for me and the kids, and there's another basket for her. And her basket. At this point,
there's no basket for you and the kids. It's only for you. Yes, the kids are doing their own laundry now. So,
right. So
look at you being set free.
Hallelujah. Should I say that? Hallelujah.
Yes, you should be praising God.
So, kind of putting a bow on the other piece that we talked about finding the difficulties and neither one of us wanting the divorce at the same time. You didn't specifically have an example, but because you said you didn't.
Yeah, I never got to the point like you where I was like, here's my plan. I did think about, what are the steps I would have to do if we're not going to be together anymore. But in my mind, it was always you leaving. It was always you saying, I've had enough. That's, I can't do this anymore. Because I wasn't getting nearly as upset with you for any one thing that was like a leavable offense. It would just be like, if he wants to leave, I'm not going to stop him. If he wants to go, if he wants to start doing these steps to go, I'm not going to stop him. I'll be fine. We'll be fine. The biggest thing is like for us, trying to figure out, you had it in your mind. I remember we had this discussion in reference to what I don't know, but you were like, Simone is coming to live with me if we break up. And I was like, why? No, she's not.
Yeah. Yeah.
You would bring her back as soon as y'all had a month together of just you. We didn't even have nearly the supports we have in place for her. So yes, she would go to school all day, but your weekends would have been shot.
Yes, they would have.
And you would have just dealt with that. It was better than being with me. Oh my gosh.
It wasn't better. Being with you is the wrong term. It was better than fighting. It It was better than fighting over her. It was better than if she's with me and it's just me and her, I can make decisions about her and move forward and not. I mean, that's
in the moment, because anything that's like major decision, you have to include me. But yes, the momentary responding to her momentary needs, yes, then that would be on you. And
those are the most, for us, the most acute and the most,
the most where the difference usually lies.
I mean, down to getting her teeth brushed last night. So,
yes. That's why I was like, I don't know if you want to have someone with you, because y'all are too much alike in terms of your stubbornness. Y'all are just too much. Like, both of you are very willful, and you have that right because you are the parent to say it's my way. However, she does not feel that way. She does not agree.
We're going to take care of that.
I mean, you think so. But I'm glad we didn't have to find out.
So
you need me in the middle.
I do. I do very much.
In the middle of y'all to ease things and calm everybody's spirit.
Very much so. I mean, it happens with Nathan as well, but not to the same degree and not to the same extent. But it happens with him as well.
Where we disagree. Oh yes. You just wouldn't have the same consequence. It wasn't a matter of I'm going to take Nathan because then I could decide for him things that. You're dealing with it's a whole different dynamic.
Right.
Yeah.
So
it's a completely different dynamic.
Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed this semi-random discussion about us and how we have managed some of these things. We're supposed to announce our winner this week, but we got caught up this weekend. So I'm sorry to our winner, but we haven't forgotten about you.
I know somebody who thinks they are the winner.
I do too.
Who has declared herself the winner.
I do too. So, I mean, and it's very likely that she will be the winner. Yes. It's very likely she will be the winner. So, but we will have to see. We got other people
we
on
haven't counted IG.
IG is the one.
She's definitely the winner when it comes to YouTube.
YouTube, but she's not the winner when it comes to IG. So she might have some competition on the IG side.
Yes.
So this could go down to the wire. We're going to do it.
To the wire.
We're going to do it this week. And we get a chance to do it because we will have some free mornings because we are going to Chicago this week to celebrate our anniversary.
Yes,
our 28th anniversary is this week. So we're going to Chicago, and we'll have some time potentially in airports and other places to kind of just
go ahead and
diddle through and do these things and do these counts and get these things taken care of. And
because we want to keep our word. We already had the books. Yes. Arthur Javonda sent the books almost immediately.
Post-haste.
As soon as we talked to her about doing the contest. So we have the books. We are ready. They are ready to be sent. I think you will enjoy them. We appreciate everyone who has
been participating,
made any comments,
correct,
liked anything, subscribed to our YouTube channel, shared. People have shared and made our posts their stories. So that's mad awesome.
Don't forget to join us on Sunday nights for Heartbeats in the Basement on twitch.tv/DJ C#. I play some tunes.
And I yuck it up with people in the chat. 9 p.m. Eastern time.
Every Sunday. Well, most Sundays. Won't be this Sunday because
we'll be traveling.
We'll be traveling. So, although we'll be back.
We will be back. And we're going to see the state of affairs when we get back.
Yeah.
Because somebody will have missed us and want us to.
Yes, dearly. So, you see that even in our lives, our rhythm is not always up tempo
On
and,
beat.
and on beat. Sometimes it's
Sometimes the white girl is on beat.
Sometimes the syncopation kicks in. Sometimes the syncopation kicks in. So,
Yes.
But we hope that you have had an opportunity to listen to us and learn and understand what our rhythm, and that can potentially help you with yours.
So that you can live by the rhythm and love by the rhythm.
See you guys next time. We will not have an episode next week because of our trip to...
because of our weekend celebration travels.
Unless... That'll be... I won't even put that out there. I'm not even going to put that out there. We'll discuss it. You know, the Tolberts are in that and they do podcasts. We might be able to talk to them. But I haven't reached out to them to see that. That's the case. So,
all right.
But... And, you know, if they can record it and send it to us, we could just have a dual recording.
Yeah.
So, but I haven't talked to them about that yet. And it might not happen because they may be busy and things like that. And
they are busy people.
We
plan to be busy while we're there.
I plan to be not as busy as you think.
Oh, good. Oh, my God.
I plan to be not as busy
Don't
as
say that.
We'll go to some of these events.
Me with a good time.
But I don't
I'll
plan
be in
to
the
be.
bed.
I don't plan to be too busy. I'm planning to try to relax. So, all right. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Good day or good morning.
Oh, yeah, whatever it is. We don't know what it is.
Thanks for watching.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
We hope you've enjoyed another exciting episode of Rhythm of Love, the podcast, hosted by Clarence and Yolanda Lewis.
Theme song by Kendra R.
Book graphics by Rihanna Denise.
More information is available at cYlentertainment.com.
Please join us on Sunday nights for our live stream on twitch.tv/DJC Sharp.